Good morning, everyone. This is Paco, and this is Coffee and Headlines, our daily chance to get together and check out what is going on around the world, near and far, while we're drinking some coffee. If you're new to these broadcasts, we are live every morning at 10:30 here on Facebook. We also make the broadcasts available on YouTube, so we also want to say hello to our YouTube friends who have been subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope everybody's having a good morning today. We'll get to say hello to some of you throughout this morning's broadcast. So if you are here with us, feel free to say hello. Feel free to let us know where you are watching from. Today, we have all kinds of fun things. We're going to look at some headlines. We're going to listen to some wonderful music by a local group called La Boquita. And then we're going to take a quick look at one of Mexico's most beloved and prolific songwriters, Jose Alfredo Jimenez. So let's get started with some headlines just to get a sense as to what's going on in the world around us. This comes from a website in the United States that says healthcare experts predicts concerts and festivals will not return until autumn 2021. This is based on commentary made in a recent roundtable discussion hosted and transcribed by the New York Times, in which bioethicist and professor of healthcare management Zeke Emanuel says he has no idea how promoters that are rescheduling arts and music events for later this year think that is a plausible possibility. This article makes sense, of course, when you think about the fact that any place where we're bound to find ourselves surrounded by a lot of people is not a place that we're going to be wanting to visit in the near future. We also learned from El Heraldo de Mexico what are the states in Mexico where the citizens are respecting the self-imposed quarantine the least. And according to results obtained from the Google tool that we discussed a few days ago, we discovered that Chiapas is the state where its citizens have been respecting the quarantine the least. This is followed by the state of Oaxaca, and then the state of Chihuahua, and then the state of Tamaulipas. It's a good thing that, thanks to all the insistence that we've been getting from local and statewide officials, Jalisco is faring quite well as far as the staying home instruction. Then we also learned that for those in Mexico City, a face cover, a fabric face cloth, is obligatory now. It's mandatory to get on the subway starting this Friday. The good thing is that the government is going to be distributing free face coverings, 1 million of them, in several of the stations in lines A and line 9, which are the most commonly used lines of the subway. Then we also learn that in Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara, rapid testing goes into effect starting today. But this is only for doctors that are in constant contact with patients. So I would imagine that this is one of those moves in which the local government or the state government has decided to go forth with rapid testing, despite the indications or despite the objections that the state government has received from federal government health officials. Yesterday, some people circulated information about the fact that electricity bill will go through an increase. This morning, in his usual press conference, President of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, says that news is false. It's being distributed by people that want to disrupt the government. On their part, the Comisión Federal de Electricidad, which is the entity that provides us with electricity, they clarified that there will not be a 4.5% increase in the bill as was announced or was perceived. What is going to happen is that we will pay 0.23% more per kilowatt starting in the month of April. Now, whether the president is right or the CFE is right is a matter of opinion and clarification. Hopefully, we'll be getting more information about this as we move forward. Then there's, of course, the issue of quarantine. We keep talking about whether we're going to be in quarantine much longer, whether Mexico is going to change its guidelines or not. There is no official information about this, although it's pretty much assumed that Hugo Lopez Gatell is going to end up increasing the quarantine until the 31st of May or the first week of June, although I insist this has not been reported officially just yet. Now, if you're wondering how the quarantine is affecting our drinking habits, Vox put together an interesting look at how America, well, this is a United States-based website, so how America drinks now and how based on mail order and home delivery of alcohol, are we drinking more? Are we drinking less? Are we drinking alone? Are we drinking together with other friends? What are we drinking and how are we drinking? This is an interesting look at how we're changing our habits. And last but not least, we also get a nice insight about how America has never embraced bidets. I don't even know how to pronounce the word, but this little device that you can find in many European bathrooms, it's never really taken off in the United States, but now given the latest shortages of toilet paper, it might actually become a little bit more popular. Let's take a look at who's joining us this morning. Good morning, Gary. Tim, I am so happy that you're here. Tim Longpre, I'm going to put a link to something he shared with me yesterday. We've been talking about finding ways to be empathetic and optimistic in our messages. So Tim and his team, that's a tough one when English is not your native language. His team at PVRPV, they put together this beautiful video with gorgeous images of Puerto Vallarta. That is a call for people to remember that we're going to be here when you're ready to come back. And I think that's an important message to be sharing. Tim, I salute you, and I'm so happy that you're doing this. We get hello from Cristina from Rincon de Guayabitos. It's so good to see you because today, actually, we might as no. I'm gonna wait because I have a bunch of show and tell that includes something that Cristina and I have been talking about for some time. Christy is in San Francisco. I hope the weather is good. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe. Kathleen, it's good to see you. Gary was wonderful yesterday in our interview, and he communicated with me throughout the day and was so happy to tell me, and I was so happy to hear that several folks who watched the interview yesterday made donations to help local people to get food to local people in need. So I think this is a wonderful thing. It's great to be part of this effort. It's great to be part of positive change. Gary Brown comments on the concert promoters. They're not very smart. Well, I think you're right, but it's difficult to predict how we're going to be doing this. And I feel sorry. Well, I feel strongly for local venues like Encanto and Act Two and The Palm, who at this time of year are probably still enjoying the reaping from the success of the season and haven't even started booking their talent for next season. I'm sure that the owners of these venues are sitting down wondering what's going to happen. Restaurant owners, the same. Concert halls everywhere. You know, there's a lot of areas where we used to sitting closely to one another, and how this is going to work in the future. Going to church is another one. So, oh dear, these are all things that we're going to be looking at as we move forward, I suppose. Michal, it's great to see you. Mark Henny, it's great to see you. Silvia Basurto Castellanos, querida amiga, buenos dias. We're going to talk about you today. We're going to talk about the wonderful music you create along with Paolo and La Boquita. Gail, it's so nice to see you back. Same thing, June. It's great to have you. And Kathleen, yes, bidets are big in other places. Was we had one in my parents' house at some point, so I've missed having one, but let's not go there right now. Gary Brown is reevaluating bad life choices while drinking in isolation. I drink to that. I've been doing the same thing. We have a nice thank you from Tim Longpre. So let me give you a couple of show and tell bits that I've been sitting with. Our friend Vicky sent me this beautiful sunset, Vicky Walters, that she probably took from her own home. And I wanted to share that. I'm always happy to see the photographs, to receive the photographs and videos that you share with me. And we've been talking about Christina up in Rincon de Guayabitos. And a few days ago, I asked her, well, how are you keeping busy? And this is how Christina keeps busy at home.
Good job, honey.
Well done. And these must be foreign sheep because they're going, yeah, 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 yeah. Which I think it sounds German to me. What do I know? Maybe they speak a different language. But anyhow, if you're doing fun things, if you're doing things to keep you happy, alive, sane, share your photographs, share your stories with me, and I will be happy to share them with others. Oh, this is very funny. Christy, you are right. It's not drinking alone if the dog is at home or if you have a cat. That's why I'm happy to have my kitty cat next to me whenever I'm working because she's always my excuse to realize that it's wine o'clock. And when it's wine o'clock, well, you know how it goes. Anyhow, let's move on with some of the things that I want to share with you today. Yesterday, well, actually, before I go there, a lot of musicians, a lot of performers have started going live, doing shows, hoping to make some money, hoping that people will give them a tip jar and put some money in their tip jar. But yesterday, I heard from my dear friends from La Boquita, which is a local band. La Boquita is comprised by Silvia Basurto and Paolo Uccelli. They are two wonderfully talented local musicians. They're a world music ensemble that combines flamenco, Middle Eastern music, Argentinian tango, and other rhythms from Mexico and Latin America. He comes from a small oceanfront town in Italy called Rapallo, and Sylvia is from Mexico City. They have a frequent collaborator called Sol Maria, and she is an amazing flamenco dancer. And all three of them had strong musical influences as they were growing up. They've performed in festivals throughout Mexico, Cuba, Holland, Spain, the United States, Italy, and India. Well, while most musicians have been lately playing live, La Boquita has decided to take a different approach altogether. What I was very surprised and happy to see yesterday is that La Boquita has just finished recording their latest album. And rather than going live, what they have done, and this is shameless promotion because they're dear friends and I love them and I respect them, so bear with me. What they've done is they've put their entire new album online for us to download and for us to pay for whatever we feel is right to pay for their music. They call it a tip. I call it paying forward. And what they did is they put together a nice little message for everybody to enjoy. Take a look.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
We are hoping that you are well in these difficult times. And we send our thoughts of wellness to all of you, friends around the world.
And also, we want to share a bit of new album we're recording.
Here is the link to download the music. It's free. And also here It's a link to our PayPal account if you want to make a donation.
Yeah, thank you all for listening to music, and also if you want to share the message, yeah, it's great for us.
But please stay at home. It's very important for everybody.
So, needless to say, I downloaded the album. I made my contribution. I sent them some PayPal money, and I'm going to be sharing the account and the download information, so forth and so on. And what they've done, they've put together this beautiful package. You know, in the download, you even get the CD cover. You get to see the names of some of the other musicians that are collaborating with them, and and it's nice to see that they're working with Javier Nunez, who's a local, very well-known bass player. Sol Maria, who I mentioned before, she provides voice, and she also, on their live performances, she dances flamenco, and she also uses her palms to provide percussion. And I was quite taken by the fact that Paolo and Silvia's baby daughter, Frida, is also featured in the album. So again, I'll have the download links for this music at the end of the show if you like it, and if you feel strongly about the music. If the music moves you, please consider giving them a little bit of a contribution, a voluntary contribution through their PayPal account. Now, I was curious, of course. I went looking for information about some of the things that they've recorded. I went online looking for the YouTube channel, and I found a beautiful, oh, good. I have a remark from Sylvia saying that she's thrilled that in this album they have their daughter Frida in one of the songs. ¿Cuántos años tiene Frida? I want to know, how old is Frida now? Because it's so dear that they featured their baby daughter in the album. Anyhow, while we get to some more questions and answers, I am going to continue with my story. I went into YouTube and I went looking for more music from La Boquita, and it turns out that they perform a sketch of one of my favorite songs from one of my favorite Mexican composers, Jose Alfredo Jimenez, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about him and his music, if you'll indulge me. He was born in 1926, died at the very young age of 46 years of age. He's from Dolores Hidalgo. He did not play any instrument. According to the Mexican singer Miguel Aceves Mejia, he did not play an instrument. He did not even know the Spanish word for waltz, or what keys his songs were written in. However, he composed over 1,000 songs in the traditional Mexican music, ranchero, mariachi. Some of his most popular songs include Si Nos Dejan, El Rey, Amanecí en Tus Brazos, Un Mundo Raro. And the beautiful thing about these songs is that chances are you've heard them before in at a party or with mariachi, and you've heard us Mexicans hollering the lyrics, and you'd recognize the tunes, only you probably don't know that they were written by him. Anyhow, of all the songs that Jose Alfredo has composed, one of my favorite is, of course, yes, I forgot to tell you, his songs have been performed by a bunch of people: Lola Beltran, Vicky Carr, Vicente Fernandez, his son Alejandro Fernandez, Luis Miguel, and many others. And in fact, even though he died in 1973, he received the posthumous Latin Grammy Award for Album of the Year in 2018 for an album made by Luis Miguel called México por Siempre, because 6 of the 14 tracks in the album were composed by Jose Alfredo Jimenez. The subject matter of his songs included love, ordinary heroes, agreements and disagreements, the beauty of historic Mexican towns, and he certainly sang a lot about being out of love, or breaking up, or being hurt from a former lover. But he always sang about these the subject matter with a lot of dignity. He does not mourn loss of love bitterly, at least not on the surface. He does it with this certain sense of dignity that is characteristic, or it's allegedly characteristic to a lot of us Mexican men, which we suffer from within. And when we suffer from the outside, it's because we've been drinking profusely. There's some truth to that, but not necessarily all of it. Anyhow, one of the most beautiful songs of Jose Alfredo is Un Mundo Raro, or An Odd World. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this song because it's such a beautifully written song. Here are the lyrics in Spanish, and then I'm going to translate. The lyrics in Spanish say, Cuando te hablen de amor y de ilusiones, y te ofrezcan un sol y un cielo entero, si te acuerdas de mí, no me menciones porque vas a sentir amor del bueno. And what this means is when they talk about love and dreams and they offer the sun and the sky, don't mention me if you remember me, because you could end up feeling true love. Now, what exactly is Jose Alfredo meaning with these lyrics? He's essentially saying, oops, I didn't mean to do that. There you go. He's essentially saying, when new pretenders come to you and they offer you the sun and the moon, don't think about me because you might remember how much you loved me. Then the character of the song continues saying, y si quieren saber de tu pasado, es preciso decir una mentira. Di que vienes de allá, de un mundo raro, que no sabes llorar, que no entiendes de amor y que nunca has amado. Take that. And what that means is if these pretenders, if they ask you about your past, you're going to have to lie. Lying is inevitable. Tell them you come from an odd world, that you don't know how to cry, that you don't understand love, and that you've never loved. In other words, deny your feelings. Deny that when you were with me, you really felt the good stuff. So it's a beautiful song. The lyrics are absolutely gorgeous, and it begs the question, what kind of music would Jose Alfredo Jimenez use to express this sadness, this longing for a certain love that is no more? He could have taken Alanis Morissette's approach, but he doesn't. What he does is he creates this beautiful harmonic background in which the song becomes almost like a lullaby. And the most gorgeous versions of this song that I've heard, that certainly include what we're going to listen to next, treat the song as with dignity. That the hurt, the pain that you feel is very real, but it's also very dignified. So again, why are we talking about this? Well, because I ran into this gorgeous, gorgeous version of the first verse of the song as performed by La Boquita. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it with you. I took the liberty of adding subtitles in English to this. It's 2 minutes long, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Think again about those lyrics. Think about how you felt when you had to remember a previous love, or think about how you feel if life was to end tomorrow. Have you felt true love? Did you come from a weird world, or did you come from this world? Let's take a listen.
Hablen de amor y de ilusiones y te ofrezcan un sol y un cielo entero. Si te acuerdas de mí, no me menciones porque vas a sentir amor del bueno. preciso decir una mentira de que vienes de allá, de un mundo raro, que no sabes llorar, que no entiendes de amor y que nunca has amado.
I love that song, and I love this version by La Boquita. It is unfortunate that this particular song, is not included on their latest album. But their latest album, again, I downloaded it yesterday. I started listening to it. It has beautiful, beautiful music, and as I mentioned before, it features their daughter, who now we know is 5.5. We have hellos from Paolo, who we just heard playing his guitar. I think you play beautifully. I've said this before, and it is so nice to hear you guys being creative and trying to stay happy and productive during this period. Um, Gary asks, "Is naming your refrigerator, as does that call for a successful day?" I think yes. I think not only is it a good sign of success, it's also comforting to know that there's somebody else out there that names their appliances. If you ever get to visit my home, Gary, you'd be surprised at all the names that I'm surrounded with. Catherine McCarthy tells us that she's back in Toronto and has made some local donations. Good for you. Maureen tells us that she is enjoying the broadcast. It's wonderful that you're with us. It's nice to meet all of you every morning. Um, she says, "Hi, Julie." Um, Gary mentions that it probably should be mentioned how good the local government has done in protecting the community. We've mentioned this before. We'll mention it ad nauseum. Every time we go out, we should remember to say thanks to everybody that is out there. Most of us, or many of us, have the fortune or lack of choice. We have to work from home. We have to stay home. But there's supermarket workers, police people, people that clean our cities, people that direct our traffic. They're all working. Doctors, nurses, if they are in your lives, a thank you and a smile goes a long way. Um, what a treat this morning to listen to La Boquita. They are beautiful. Yes, they are. They're wonderful. I'm glad you're enjoying the music. And I am glad that you're joining us. As always, it's a pleasure to see you. We're getting close to the half an hour mark, so I don't want to keep you for the entire morning, of course. But I will say to Julie Bunker that you can have as many glasses of wine with only one cat. I did a lot of scientific research on this, and it is possible. Yes, in fact, it is possible to drink a lot of wine, even when all you own is one cat. So just be careful. Don't overdrink. Drink to be happy. Drink to know that you love people, that you're loved by people. Have a toast with your friends using your Skype account. Call someone and tell them, "Hey, let's have a glass of wine together." Do whatever you can to be connected. Do whatever you can to stay connected. And of course, do whatever you can to connect with us every morning. It is always wonderful to see you. And this is it. It is Wednesday. The rest of the day is mine. Seize the rest of your day. Do so safely. Do so gladly. And be good. Be good to one another. And I will see you tomorrow morning.